It's a pleasure to be here this morning to announce a year-long, multi-year project about building solutions for the mobile video journalist. But Randy started off this morning talking about where we are on the iPhone. When I was here 4 deans ago, I needed some people who've been here for a while. I want to look back to understand how we've gotten to the point we are of mobile first, because it's not something that's happened overnight, but it has accelerated in the last 7 years. So when I was here, Vietnam was the first television war, and journalists shot film, put it in a can, sent it to New York. It was edited and processed. That's developing for students who've never really seen film, and put on the news 24 hours later. And we saw it in the living room, over dinner, Americans being killed, and it shaped our perception of the war. The 80s brought us satellite technology. When President Bush announced the bombing of Baghdad, he went into his office and turned on CNN so he could watch it live. The Bloomobile was developed during the 90s. It was the first time that we could broadcast to a satellite from a moving object. When I started NBC desktop video with partners Microsoft and Dow Jones in the 90s, I learned a valuable lesson. Trying to get video through the infrastructure of the internet in the 90s was like moving a raccoon through a garden hose. It just didn't work. And it took 10 years before the infrastructure was in place, before the processing power had expanded, before the storage has gotten low, that YouTube can launch. Now, there are different versions of where am I? How come I got to change mine here. So there are different versions of how YouTube was founded. Steve Chen and Chad Hurley say that it was really going to be an online video dating service. I'd like to go with the interpretation of Jawad Wed, whose view was he was looking for video of Janet Jackson's problem at the Super Bowl, or video from the tsunami in 2004. But it was the most important time in the democratization of video. Amateurs and professionals now had the same ability to reach out to anyone in the world with their story. Their core uploading structure has remained in place, and it's dramatically changed the way things are going. Now, who wouldn't say that we often underestimate the pace of change in the short term, and overestimate in the short term and underestimate in the long term? But look at all the businesses that have been disrupted since 2007. It's incredible. Beginning in 1994, ironically, when Dean Mills arrived to head the journalism school, the Mac was launched. Then Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web, a crucial component to develop. The browser came in 1994, and then everything was put in place in 2007 for the launch of the iPhone. If you don't think things are changing rapidly, look at what Google Glass looked like 3 years ago. Look what it's going to look like tomorrow. We can't anticipate the speed of change that we're going through, but it is the greatest. That we will look back on these 25 years as the greatest change since Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1445. All of our core media creation and consumption habits are changing. Kate Grumke, who's part of a capstone program this semester studying mobile video, found this picture from the investitures of Pope Francis and Pope Benedict in 2005. Dramatic change. If we don't think that the world is there for mobile video, this picture documents it. We know what's been happening in Egypt. We know what's been happening in the Sudan, around the world. If Vietnam was the first television wars, Iraq and Afghanistan were the first satellite wars, these are the first YouTube wars, where social media is creating knowledge. So who is the audience for mobile video DIY? We've identified 3 audiences. There's the aspiring journalist, the high school student, the students in Judd and Steve's class who are learning how to use mobile technology. Mike Rosenblum, who is the founder of Current TV, is now training UN workers to use their smartphone to document what they see in Mali and the Sudan, so that they can then simply edit it and document what they're seeing. There's the accidental journalist. Meet Tim Pool, he's 27. He's a self-taught journalist. In 2000, when Arab Spring happened and Occupy Wall Street, he said, I want to be there. I want to show people what's happening. So he went to Rakati Park. And the first day, he had 35 viewers. Second day, 70. Third day, 200. Fourth day, 2,000. Fifth day, 10,000. Then the police invaded Zuccotti Park. 750,000 people were watching his feed. 2 days later, he peaked at 3.2 million viewers. He is now in Turkey, and follow him at Timcast. His dispatches from Turkey are compelling. And then the third audience is the professional journalist, the one who may have been out of school for as little as 3 years to as many as 40 years. They show up for work one day and find out that the smartphone is your new camera. Or you're invited to reapply for your position, which is going to be video-centric. 400 reporters for the Wall Street Journal have been trained and dispatched to shoot video when they cover stories. Sky News can go live from the field in 90 seconds with their iRig and their iPhone. So this conference is testimony to where we are, and the speakers before me and that will come after are documenting. There's so much going on here already from the day that RJI opened in 2008. Reuben Stern and his team every week demonstrate new apps and new workflow for the newsroom. The Global Journalist talks to journalists around the world on multiple platforms every week. We've already heard from Judd and Will. Craig Newman, who's a Missouri alum, is working with Storymaker in third world countries in how to teach people in emerging democracies how to create stories. There, because Android is the dominant phone, they're creating fascinating applications. When Gutenberg invented the printing press, only 8% of the world could read. Well, only 20% of the world now has an iPhone, and that 5 billion that we heard about earlier, as they come online, things are going to change. There's a lot going on in this space, from BBC to RTE to Rosenblum TV to journalism.app. Broadcasters are getting into this, led by CNN with iReport, but they've been pretty slow because, as we've heard, it's very difficult to organize mobile video. There's a friend of mine who runs a lot of conferences, and the instructions he gives his staff is find speakers who don't remember who weren't born when Kennedy was assassinated. But this was the most famous citizen video ever shot. Time or Life magazine got tipped that there was a businessman out at lunch with a camera filming the motorcade, but all they had was how they thought his name was pronounced. Well, they looked in the Dallas phone book and found the name Abraham Zapruder. Called him. No answer, no voicemail. just kept calling. After 11 o'clock, Richard Stolle says, I'm going to try one more time. He answers the phone. He'd been getting the film processed. He now knew what he had. Video from Syria and Croatia doesn't come as neatly packaged and as neatly verified as the Zapruder film. Interestingly, Life magazine only brought the photo rights. The Zapruder film was never seen in public for 6 years and not shown on television for 13 years after the assassination. But we saw Mark's slide earlier today. 10,000 verified videos by Storyful on their Syria channel. A remarkable change in the last 40 years. So what is mobile video DIY? It's a long-term project to create a platform of solutions for the mobile video journalists. I want to thank Brian Steffens and Lamar Henderson and Nate Brown. We created this prototype. They helped us get an online presence. Titan Teagard and Corey Rake and Emily Stewart are working on our mobile app. But we're going to have 7 different applications. First is we're going to organize all the fabulous instructional videos on the web on how to shoot, edit, share, and monetize. They're all over. We're going to curate them and put them in one place. We're also going to have a directory, so if you want to compare one app to another, you can look at the reviews that are online. We're going to have a store, so if you find something you want, you can go on and buy it, or you've got a link to that app to download on your phone. How do freelance mobile journalists and news agencies around the world, whether it's the BBC and CNN or Storyful, how do they connect with each other in this mobile generation? Well, it's an inexact science. We're going to create a dashboard where freelance mobile video journalists will be able to put up their information and their work product. On the other side will be news agencies that can list what they're looking for and what their contact information. And they'll have a search engine to look for mobile video journalists, either for product to license or for assignments to be made to a freelance mobile journalist. And this is the new part. The Missouri method is infamous for hands-on training. Well, we're going to be doing it 2 different ways. One, Jim Flink is leading a team to create a series of seminars around industry gatherings to teach mobile journalists how to use the latest tools in mobile journalism. As we heard from Judd and Steve's talk, it's complicated, it's not easy, and it's really hard to try to learn on your own. So not only will they be doing seminars that Jim will tell you a little bit more, because they're announcing the first 2 seminars to sign up, we think it's important for existing companies who have staff that they're giving mobile tools to, that they can continually update their training. As Steve and Judd saw, literally every day there are new apps that are being released that can enhance the storytelling capabilities of a journalist or help the workflow of an existing newsroom. So the goal to engage professionals working with Will in the international area to create this one-stop shop for mobile journalists to go to one place to find what they need. And if you have any doubts that mobile journalism is ready for prime time, take a look at the next minute and 50 seconds on the 30th anniversary of the Mac, all shot on an iPhone in one day. So I'd like you to take out your smartphone, go to Twitter, search at MobileVideoDIY, and I guarantee you'll have a front row seat to the dramatic transition that we're living through right now. Thank you very much.